We're just about ready. When you turn on the recording device, we'll be ready. Regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for December the 18th, 2012 will come to order. I'll ask everyone now to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Before we begin the formal agenda, I'm going to ask that we observe a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the tragedy in Connecticut last Friday. Would you bow your heads, please? Amen. All right, it's our pleasure tonight to honor a number of city employees who are celebrating milestones with the city, 5 years, 10 years, 15, and on up. And before we ask these individuals to come forward one at a time, of course, I want to say that it is the caliber of service, the level of devotion to your job, the concern for the citizens that you serve, and the cooperation that you give to your department heads and to all of us as well, that we honor this evening. Without you and the level of service that you provide, we would not be able to deliver the services that the people of this city expect. And you do this consistently, day in and day out, in some cases on a 24-hour schedule, but at any rate, whatever job that you do is valuable, from riding the back of the garbage truck to repairing lines with the electric department, or to digging ditches with the water and gas department, doing what the police and fire does, and even to Tony Phelps and his fine crew who have such many accolades directed their way after the Christmas in the Park. So to all departments in each and every one of our nearly 250 employees, I want to say thank you. Now I'm going to ask that the members of the board come forward with me and stand to my left. I'll be directly in front of you, and we will go forward with this.
And I might add, instead of leaving after you get your award, the Robertson County Times wants to take a picture of everyone at the end, so please don't leave until all
If you leave, we take it back. So all right, Elizabeth Armstrong, Gas Department, 5 years of service. Another Gas Department employee, Stephanie Brown. Another 5 years of service, Dusty Johnson, Fire Department. Another 5-year service award, Jeremy Liggett. And John Layton, Parks and Recreation. Another 5-year award to Amanda Porter, Springfield Fire Department. Who just became the mother of twin boys back years of service, our animal in the Department of Animal Control, Joyce Bradley. And now our cemetery department, Wallace West. Now we're shifting to 10 years of service, Victor Atkinson, Public Works. Brandon honks at me when he picks up my garbage.
No, it's everybody.
Darryl Blue, wastewater. Joe Boland, 10 years of service, Springfield Fire Department. Now the water and wastewater awardee, Paul West, 10 years of service. And the engineering department, David Brewer, 15 years. And now, police department, Aaron Benton.
He's on duty tonight. He said he might.
All right, we'll get him his later. I know this fellow's here, 15 years of service, and recently promoted to lieutenant, Thad Doris. He's so shy, you all probably don't even know it.
I don't get out lunch.
Regina Hope, assistant city manager. She really can't add. She had more Actually, Gina was here for about 6 years in the, from 89 or 90 on to, okay, and then came back, was gone for a while, came back to the state. And now, Chad Richardson, 15 years of service. Susan Smith, police department. Now, employee of water and wastewater, we move into the 20-year category. This one goes to Terry Beard. And now a 20-year award to Michelle Daly, Electric Department. gentleman who hails from Athens, Tennessee. She's hiding back there from me, and that would be Doug Carolyn with 25 years of service. In addition to his plaque, he gets a $50 gift card.
25 years.
And another 25-year service award to Philip Farmer of Water and Wastewater. And another 25-year award to Joe Ventris of Water Department. Cards that I need. 25 years of service to a public works employee by the name of Terry Shannon. Terry, will you come down? Recipient is our city clerk, Connie Watson, with 25 years of service. And now another 25-year recipient will be, we say he's in the communications department. He was actually with our police department. Elvis Wilson, come forward. He's held by all right, another 25-year recipient, and that is Captain Vernon Yates from Springfield. And here is a still young man with 35 years of service in the water department, wastewater service, Mark Matthews. And now we're moving to the 35-year service award. I can't believe this was that old. One of Jerome's former students, Trent Morris, with 35 years of service. This guy, along with Joe Ventris, and more keeps that water flowing out there. Thank you so much. And now we're moving to a 40-year recipient. You sit down. You have about 60 years. Clifford Farmer. Clifford. And we're skipping a little category here now and coming to an award that we rarely give with this many years of service. But this is a 50-year award to James Campbell, who's been our custodian here at the good with numbers. He gets a good size, gets the good.
He don't want us.
I was just a baby. I was just a baby when it came.
Hadn't changed a bit.
If the members of the board will remain standing, we have one more recipient, not a service award, but indirectly it is as well. So it's my pleasure to announce, I have been informed by the city manager that we have today, that he has today appointed acting Chief Jimmy Hamill as Chief of the Springfield Fire Department. He started to work when you were 18. He has 36 years of service with the department, having served as a firefighter, an engineer, that means a driver, as a captain, as a battalion chief, and assistant chief. So I believe he's got the adequate experience for the job. His professionalism and love for his job is as good as any I know, and we're very proud of you. It's very deserved. And shake hands with all of you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Big state of Texas. Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's a Texas native. All right, and don't forget, all of you award recipients need to come forward now. We're going to take directions from Sherry here in the Robertson County. Sherry Reeves is coming forward to tell us where to go.
20 years on down first. 20 years on down first. Come on. Can y'all stand over?
You want us to stand back here? Let's move the chairs. Get in front of the chairs. I don't know how. Stand back right here.
I guess move chair come over here.
I guess they want us standing.
Move your chair.
Stand behind them.
She said 20 and under, so I'm listening. Listening to instructions. How far are we going? Can't see us anyway. She said 20 and under. I guess I am. Can't see us.
Squeeze in there, push.
Oh, here, let me get my chair. That's 20 and under.
Everybody got to slide down a little bit.
Oh, we got to slide down this way.
You get ready for somebody who's shorter than you.
I'm behind Thad. David? They can't see me.
I got it right here. Where you going, Connie?
1, 2, 3,
I can't see.
Okay. Good. Now 25 years and up, please. Jane?
Years and up.
Don't be so excited, Elvis, about taking your picture back.
That's a bunch of them.
Yeah, wow. Can't be that old.
20. Come on in there, Mark. Get in
Come on,
there.
Mark.
Somebody's going to have to get in the front. Well, I ain't going to do making a picture. Call me. Sure. Look at her. She's trying to get in the back.
Elvis and
Elvis
Connie.
and Connie. Y'all on the front row.
Why are you holding Elvis's?
Is that it?
Thank you.
Start.
You can show them.
Oh, we got this is mine.
Oh, my.
Yeah, take a picture.
great. I don't think I've ever known anybody that
You need special recognition.
very special. Well, that's a way to clear the room out.
Yep. DC. Never seen a man laugh.
Where do I turn this right here?
Did you get a gas? Free gas.
I couldn't do that. Yeah, I said, if you want to work, it's 100 years old, they'll work.
Right.
You should try to make it.
I'll have
Got a hard copy.
I'm not clean up there.
Yeah. That's great.
I've been there all this time.
He's such a sweet man.
Every time I talk to him, I'm trying to make it 100 million. I told him, I'm trying to get to the jail.
We'll now reconvene. I want to welcome Clay Sneed as the newly elected alderman from Ward 6. And we're glad to have you here. All right, we now have on our agenda a public hearing regarding ordinance 12-14, which establishes a fee to obtain traffic and accident reports online. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to make a statement with regard to this proposed ordinance change? Hearing none, we'll conclude the public hearing. We now at 1.4 have the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of November the 20th. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? If you favor the approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered. Now to the legislative portion of the agenda. 2.1 is to discuss and possibly take action on ordinance 12-13. This is a third and final reading. This amends our municipal code in the section of business, peddlers, solicitors, etc. It has been discussed and voted on at 2 prior sessions and is ready now for third and final reading. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask our city clerk to call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, and 2.2 is a second reading on ordinance 12-14, for which we just had the public hearing. This establishes a fee in the amount of $4 to obtain a Springfield Police Department traffic accident report online through Carfax. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, where's $4 go? The general fund or the police department?
Let's get that answered for you.
It goes to general fund.
General fund. All right, any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay. 2.3 is to discuss and possibly take action regarding Resolution 12-31. This resolution would petition the General Assembly of the State of Tennessee to amend our charter regarding the term of the vice mayor. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Nutting, will you explain this change?
Well, thank you, Mayor. We've actually talked about this a couple of times over the years since we changed the date of the Board of Mayor and Alderman elections to the general elections in November. One of the oversights when we did that charter amendment was the fact that that would put the appointment of the vice mayor on a new term to match, because the idea is every time you elect a new board that will sit for 2 years, that vice mayor holds that position for that 2-year period. So what we are requesting is that we submit this resolution and that the state legislature take action on authorizing the vice mayor to be appointed beginning December 1st each new, after the general city election.
Okay, and of course, this then, if we approve this, goes to the General Assembly, and we'll probably have action from them in early to late spring. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, it changes nothing at this point.
That's correct.
All right. All right, you've heard the discussion, and we need a motion now. We have the motion.
I have a motion.
That's what I thought. Okay, and a second. Any discussion or comment? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
All right, we move now to 2.4. This is to discuss and possibly take action on Resolution 12-32, which authorizes the city to participate in an emergency communications dispatch study committee and rescinds Resolution 12-22 in its entirety. Is there a motion?
So, second.
All right, Mr. Nutting, you will elaborate briefly on that, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution that mirrors Resolution 12-22, which was a resolution passed a month or so ago pertaining to extending the period of time before we take action on Resolution 12-19. The only thing that changes in this, it rescinds 12-22, but it reads exactly the same, with the exception that the effective date has been moved back from, as set out in Resolution 12-19, from January 1st to March 1st. And we're having some pretty good discussions jointly with the county and White House. And we're going to meet again January 3rd, and we're looking at getting some consultants, possibly from CTAS, MTAS, and the State Emergency Coordinating District or Board, Communications Board, Emergency Communications Board. And it's my understanding that Dixon County went through something similar. Ms. Schneider was at the meeting, and apparently they had a pretty good end result as a result of having some outside consultants take a look at the whole operation. So it's our recommendation to delay one more month from February 1st to March 1st.
I do sense that we are moving forward to alleviate, to do some structural changes here that I think ultimately will give us the product that we really want with this. So I am encouraged by it. I am on that committee, and as is Alderman Ellis and Alderman
Trouble's what you usually call
Yes,
it.
that's the trouble. See, I say that so much that
Yes.
I need to do better, don't I?
Well, I think I agree with you. I think that we are moving in the right direction, and we'll see progress going forward with this situation. I think last week's meeting was really good.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman Snyder. Appreciate that. Okay, any further discussion before we vote?
You know, I definitely concur, because we need that
Right.
interaction between cities of the county. And as long as we got, this is about the clearest definition of roles that each will play that we've had in a long time.
Okay, I
So
think so.
I'm definitely, you know.
All right, if there's nothing further, we'll call the roll.
Carneal.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, we move down to the administrative portion of the agenda. 3.1 is to discuss and possibly take action on the adjustment of retail electric rates by Springfield Electric due to the monthly wholesale fuel cost adjustment by TVA. Now, Mr. Gardner, you didn't bring us the best news last month. Are you going to do any better this time? Yeah.
Going down 2.6%.
All right.
Great. See, George Hall shamed you into that because, you know, he was cutting his rates. That's it. So we're working in the right direction now. All right, do we have a motion?
So move.
Seconded. All right, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Shoemaker. I'm sorry, excuse me. Snyder.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, now 3.2. Might as well say a companion resolution because this is the monthly adjustment of gas rates, and from the gas department,
Down by the nickel.
Down to nickel, all right, we like that. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any debate on that? Let's vote then. Call the roll, please.
Mason. Ellis. Sneed.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, and now we have some possible action on appointing members to serve on the Planning Commission. Let's get that list, and then we'll ask for a motion in a second. And before we do this, I'm going to ask the city attorney, did you want to clarify how this process actually is supposed to take place, the appointment of in these positions?
Our code provides that these are filled by nominations from the alderman from each district, and the mayor makes the appointment. Of course, the aldermen appoint one from this board that the aldermen appoint, and then the mayor or his designee also serves.
All right.
And it mirrors state law, except that state law does not have a provision for the alderman to nominate anyone from their district. It just provides for the mayor to appoint. But the mayor is the one that does the appointing.
Okay. All right. The list of people that are under consideration for the planning district, Mr. Robert Farmer has represented us there, and I'm recommending he is willing to serve, recommending that he go back on in that position. Now, Ward 6, Ms. Cynthia Burkeen was serving in that capacity. Mr. Sneed, what is your pleasure there?
We'll have to postpone this till next month. I haven't.
That's
no,
fine.
One of the appointments that was on here off contact, they don't wish to serve. I haven't gotten with this one yet.
We've had a similar situation. Wanda Mason is my appointee, and I have tried to reach her today and was unable to. So we have discussed it, but she hadn't given me a definite answer, so we're going to postpone that till next month. And now Alderman Hubbard represents the board in this capacity. So do we have a motion that Mr. Robert Farmer and Alderman James Hubbard be reappointed to their respective positions on this planning commission?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Let's call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Well, aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, and now we have 3.4.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
okay, the business that's coming before the planning commission on January, can we still process it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just got a couple of positions there that are,
Okay, but we still have a quorum.
You've got 7 out of 9.
Okay, good.
3.4 is to discuss and possibly take action on appointing members to serve on the Adult Entertainment Board. What names do we have for that? Where is it?
Mayor, I still don't have Ward 4 filled.
Okay.
I've asked a couple of people, but have not
Okay, we'll let
been
that
able to get anyone to serve.
go. And now, Ward 6, Betty Moore's been serving on that. Do you wish
It's
to?
the same situation, sir.
Okay, we'll hold that then, so no action's needed on that. Let's move to 3.5, discuss and possibly take action on appointing members to serve on the Joint Airport Board. Let's see the list proposed for that. 2 positions on the Robertson County Springfield Joint Airport Board will expire on December 31st. They are currently the city positions held by Tracy Langston and the city-county position held by Mel Carr. These 5-year terms begin January 1, expire December 31st of 2017. The airport board has recommended Mel Carr be reappointed. He's willing to serve. The county will vote on Mr. Carr at their regular meeting. I assume they did that yesterday. Tracy Langston has advised the board that he does not wish to be reappointed.
No, he does now.
He does now. All right, that's been changed. So we are to appoint in the combined position, Mel Carr, and in the specific city position, Tracy Langston. Somebody want to make that in a
Move to approve.
motion?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Please vote as your name is called.
Head,
Yes.
Carneal,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Mason,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Ellis,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
pass 7-0.
All right. We move now to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And what do we have there, please? Mr. Joe Nicholson's term on the Board of Zoning Appeals, representing Wards 5 and 6, expires December 31st. The successor to this current appointment term will begin January 1 of 2013 and end December 31st of 2016. Mr. Nutty.
Mayor, we've been advised that Mr. Nicholson is available to serve if that's the wish of the alderman representing the two wards 5 and 6.
You want to take action on that, representatives alive of those wards, or do you want to wait?
We're in agreement that
You're in
people
agreement.
serve, we'd like for him to serve.
All right, Joe Nicholson's nominated to serve to represent wards 5 and 6 on the BZA. Is there a motion? Motion.
Motion to
Second?
approve.
And?
Second.
Okay. All right, any discussion? Please vote your preference.
Ellis,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Sneed, Snyder,
Aye.
Carneal,
Aye.
Mason,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
pass 7-0.
All right, and now 3.7 is to discuss and possibly act on members to serve on the Construction Board of Adjustments and Appeals.
Move for approval to put it on the table.
All right, we have from, all of these have terms expiring December 31st, and all have stated they're willing to serve a new term.
Mr. Blake Batson will.
Blake Batson from Ward 1, Alfred Border, Ward 3, Jason Reynolds, Ward 5, and Joe Nicholson at large, Donald Burkeen at large. Is there, we've got the motion and a second that these be approved?
No, we did
No.
We do not. I thought I, okay.
Second.
You got the second now. All right. Any discussion on this? We'll call for the question.
Carneal,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Sneed,
Aye.
Mason,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Ellis,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
pass 7-0.
Okay, 3.8 will be to discuss and possibly take action on a parade application submitted by the Robertson County Black History Association to hold a Martin Luther King Jr. Parade in March on Monday, January the 21st. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir. We've had 2 years of beautiful turnouts, and this is a joint city. It's not just for one specific ethnicity, it's for everybody. So, I feel that everybody should join because we all in this together. We're one big happy family.
Okay. That starts on 10th Avenue
Yes,
East,
sir.
in front of Covenant Confirmers Church, and goes to the center. All right. You've heard the motion and the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Carneal,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Ellis, Mason,
Aye.
pass 7-0.
Okay, now 3.9 is to discuss and possibly take action on the submission of a Form CT-0253 for General Obligation Refunding and Public Improvement Bond Series 2012. This is these are the bonds that were approved at our last meeting. They have been
Funds have been wired today.
and the funds are wired today. The interest rate on that, as you recall, was 2.27. This, I believe, ends any debt obligations we have that have a variable rate, and everything is on a fixed rate now, which is a very positive step forward, and that rate reflects our good credit rating. So this is just a form that has to accompany that. Is there a motion that this form be approved?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
It shows how physically sound we are and how responsible we are with the taxpayers' money.
All right, please call the roll, Ms. Conley.
Mason. Ellis. Sneed.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, 3.10 is to discuss and possibly take action on projects to be funded with the proceeds of these general obligation bonds. Is there a motion this be considered?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Nutty.
Mayor, these are actually for the 2013 bonds, which we're looking at January.
Okay.
We want to sell these as soon as possible to take advantage of the low interest rates. So as of yet, we haven't been provided with a resolution. I would assume we will discuss this with our financial advisors and bond counsel here over the holidays and pick a time schedule to ultimately sell these bonds. This agenda item's been put on there to get some indication of how much the amount of the bonds that will be issued for that next upcoming bond issue. You have before you only two that we've actually agreed to include in the project list. One is the sanitary sewer system improvements to address the EPA's administrative order on consent. That's $6 million. And of course, the $2.6 million for the improvements for a new wastewater facility out on Central Avenue in the amount of $2.6 million. Other possible projects to look at, one other sewer project, extension project, is the Highway 41 South Sewer System Extension. The estimate of that engineering and construction is $1.3 million. Then we've got a number of general fund projects to look at, an animal control facility in the amount of approximately $400,000, center roof and HVAC units at about $416,000, an elevator for the center at about $101,000, possible trails and sidewalks at Travis Price Park for $142,000, possible sidewalk at Travis Price Park. We just broke this cost out from the others. Baseball field to soccer field, $25,000. Citywide sidewalk construction, $250,000. I'm sorry, I didn't delete that Highway 41 South sewer extension. That's already shown up at top. We did have a question after the last meeting about a couple of projects, whether they might be suitable for this bond sale. We did talk to our financial advisors and to our bond counsel, and they believe that the Springfield High School athletic facilities could be funded with a city bond issue. Now, you may have to have an agreement with the school district on that, but they feel pretty confident that that would be an acceptable expenditure of city funds. The Bransford Community Center, we looked at that because of the cost and the asbestos condition out there and the dangerous condition of the gym. Unfortunately, because that is not going to be used strictly as a city facility, we would probably have to fund that through a note, capital outlay note over a number of years. It's not really suitable for a GO bond issue unless we were to get that facility used at least in part by, as a city facility for a department use or some other community-oriented use.
All right, well, these projects, you have a copy of and these were all discussed, I believe, or most all of them at the last meeting. I think the thing, if you've got any questions tonight, let's hear them now. Otherwise, between now and our next meeting, which will be January the 15th, is that the way that falls, if you'll check your calendar?
22nd.
No, it's earlier than the 22nd.
It's the 22nd.
No, that would be the 4th one. January 1st is on a Tuesday. So that's right. January 15th is our next meeting then. So if you have any questions about this that you want to prioritize this in your own mind, let's direct it to Mr. Nutting. And if you've got a question tonight, fine. If not, we'll move on. Clay, do you need to?
Yes, I was looking at the center elevator. Is that an ADA issue, or is that, how did that get?
It has come to us from a number of requests from people who use the center to walk but have difficulty with steps.
It's an ADA, plus it's moving tables and chairs and other things for different events, but primarily ADA.
It's also really, really ADA. I'm there, and it's tough for me to go up the steps. And I have probably, on my shift, at 7 o'clock, what do you say, about 25 or 30, about 70 on up. And it's tough for us to get the steps, so it is an ADA issue.
Are there, how many city properties do we have that may be two-story that this could be an issue in the future? It's just, this one has one. There's no others, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No, we're good. We only have so many with 2 stories, and police department has an elevator. We've got an elevator.
All right, anything further?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
When we take the 1.3 million out of the bottom list, which is already up top under the sewer, wastewater projects, I believe that leaves us about 1.6, $1.7 million down here. What happens if we approve these bonds and we vote not to do or don't vote to do the project?
Well, then there's no point issuing the bonds, because they can only be expended for certain things.
So then I think that answers my next question. If we approve this, we're basically, if we approve 1.7 million, then we are approving doing all these things.
Not necessarily, but you're allowing yourself to do that, but let's just say that you later decided you didn't want to do one of them. You would have to expend, you cannot give that money back once those bonds are sold. They have to be expended, that money has to be expended. You might have a cost overrun on one of those others that you would have taken care of through it, but you couldn't, otherwise you would have to, just as we, like you remember the refunding thing that we did last year, where we had some money left over from a bond issue because construction costs were less. The water tank maybe didn't cost as much. Some other things didn't cost as much, and we were able to do several other projects. You're not locked in to that, am I correct, Paul? But you can't spend for outside those areas.
Well, we have a catch-all, for example, city sidewalk work, because we've got probably still millions of dollars worth of sidewalk work we could do. So that would be your catch-all if you wanted to include that.
For example, if you knocked one item out, but you decided you wanted to spend more on sidewalks,
you can do that. You can do that. You can do that.
Have some flexibility within that.
But
you couldn't go outside those areas that you've enumerated.
That's correct. You might be able to make other park improvements if you didn't do trails and sidewalks, but it has to be something
that's consistent
pretty
with what
consistent with what you said you were going to do. Now, the issue is we've got to make a decision here fairly soon, because they're probably going to want a resolution on this thing in January. I mean, it's totally up to us, but I think while interest rates are low, we can't drag this on too much further. So I think by the 15th, I think we better have a pretty good idea of how much we actually want to borrow, because they're probably going to have to pass a resolution approving that.
Well, could we even shoot for it tonight?
No.
I don't, it's
not fair to Mr. Sneed either. It's not going to hurt to wait till January the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily advocating that all of these be done. It's a list. We know we can't do Brantsford under a bond, so that's out. And it's just some options to look at. But I think I think the animal control facility is definitely needed. I think the roof and the HVAC unit, we're going to wind up spending big bucks on that in the not too distant future. The elevator is good. The park improvements are relatively minor. And we know we can do Springfield High School athletic facilities. It's not necessarily our first line responsibility to do so.
Can I go back to Bransford? At one time, were we sort of threatened that that is a health hazard? And it could fall up under our jurisdiction to bring it down, correct the matter?
Well,
Did we kind of get?
it's condemned.
It is.
It's got asbestos on the property.
It
I
is,
mean,
so I see where it falls in line of our jurisdiction.
It doesn't qualify for a GO bond issue because what you're doing now is you're using it as a community center. You're going to lease the building to another entity, which is good. They're doing a good job renovating everything. And the problem is that, to get that, once the good part of the building is renovated, they're going to use all that space, and we really don't have anything for that. That doesn't mean you can't do a project. It just means
It won't fall under the GO bond.
yeah, you can do a capital outlay note.
Because I know we really, what was it, 5-6 years ago?
We actually had it in a note
Yeah.
that we decided not to issue, and that was going to be somewhere 8 to 10 year note. And I think we were looking at the county to possibly participate in that, and they did not want to. So we have since taken over the ownership of the entire facility in the hopes of getting some grants that might help the situation, but there's really not a lot of hope there. I think
Personally, I would push for a note because it's an eyesore and it is a health hazard. So if we could swing it that way, I got my vote.
So Paul, if I may, the Bransford Community Center money here you're saying we can't use for the demolition as it is listed here.
well, we can't use it, Mr. Sneed, as a GO bond. You could, if you wanted to address the problem in a different way, with a shorter term note, 20-year, GO bond's going to be a 20-year payout. A note's probably going to be more like a 10-year payout.
So this list really needs to be narrowed down tonight for a meeting in January.
Well, you know that, the Bransford list can be taken out. And, yeah, it needs to be.
I'm all for the Bransford project. Like I said, that's probably going to have to go on its own note. But the high school athletics facility, we're chasing too many cats here with the different parts and the overlap of facilities here.
Well, I've talked to the committee with regard to this, and I think if there's anything that needs to be done, regardless of what amount of money you spend, I think they're looking at really concentrating on finishing two projects, the baseball field and the softball field. There's still lighting issues, scoreboard issues, fencing issues, things that would really put a bow on these projects and make them first rate and set the stage for additional fundraising in the future to construct the other facilities.
I'm gonna have to go contrary. That's one cat that we need to chase. Those are our children who have been deprived, and we don't deprive them anymore. Other communities have been more fortunate to have their own and had outside help and stuff, so these are our children. So that's one cat that I'm gonna vote to chase.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Are we ready to make a motion about possibly deleting some of these items? Or are we at that point?
Well, the wording of the motion was to consider this, I believe.
That's the wording of the motion. Was consider the.
To consider.
But I will.
It was to consider this entire thing, is what it was. So if you're wanting to adjust that, Clay, you can amend it. Now, we've already been told that the Bransford Community Center has to come out of it because it doesn't qualify. So that you can strike. But anything else, if you're wanting, what we have now is to vote for this list of projects, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, with the exception of the $200,000 that was allocated or proposed, rather, for Bransford, you also strike the $1.3 million for the Highway 41 South sewer extension because it's already in the other bond issue. So you would be removing $1.5 million from this.
Right,
Well, let me clarify one thing. We really haven't approved the 1.3. I just had it in two spots.
Okay.
With the only ones we know we've got to do. We purchased the building and we've got the architect working on the wastewater facility building, and we know that we're under the gun with the EPA. So those are the only two. The status there is they've been approved.
Okay.
The Highway 41 South is just, it's double counted.
Okay. So we're needing approval. All right, Paul, these two have already been approved.
I'm assuming with all your contracts and what we have to do with the contracts with Gresham Smith and everything, that you've indicated that those are going to be done and those are approved.
They are approved, the first two, the sanitary sewer improvements and the water department facility design.
Correct.
206. Now, what we would be proposing tonight then is the 1.3 million for the Highway 41 South Sewer Extension Phase 2 in that project.
That's correct.
In that grouping.
Yes, sir.
And then the general fund projects listed below with the corrections that we've said. Take out the Bransford Community Center and take out the 41 thing because it's in the other.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
Mayor, I make a motion that we strike the last three items in the general fund projects on this.
You may amend for that. You're going to,
Make a
you're
motion to
proposing an
amend.
amendment, yes, to strike.
The list as,
Mr. Sneed is asking that we eliminate the last three. The 41 South one, you already understand.
right, it's
You're
on
not
type- it's
proposing,
duplicated, so
Okay.
it's duplicated.
but doesn't it need to be voted on up here?
If you are going to eventually do that, you have to include it somewhere.
You need to do it now.
It's up to you, folks, whatever you want to do.
Okay. All right, I'm clear on all of this under those general fund projects, but not on that one, so that's what I want to. All right, Mr. Sneed, you propose striking those three issues.
Yes, on the general fund project as it's listed.
Do all of you understand, Ann?
So we're striking the
Mason?
last three.
Okay, strike the last three.
That's
being
Highway
proposed.
41,
Yes, because that's actually got to be
yeah,
considered
that's
another
already,
place.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's already there. But he want to strike Springfield High School athletics.
And the Bransford Community Center. Well, that one we already
Bradford is
done.
coming out
Try to clean
anyway.
the list up, because some things are duplicated and some we can't do, and
Sure.
one I don't want to do.
He's proposing to delete those three
No, but
from that list. Sir?
point of order, but you're trying to camouflage Springfield High School
I
athletic
think that's what-
facilities with your deletion, which, we know, and I have to throw this argument in, that extracurricular activities in the athletic venue does increase stability in children. Okay? We're struggling. We're trying to develop character and everything else to keep our kids competitive and afloat. And this is our high school athletic facilities will cover gender, girls and boys. So, I cannot go along with you on that one.
Well, I mean, we raised taxes last year to subsidize the shortfall in public works. We haven't given any money to the charitable organizations in the last couple of years. And I just say that
The most sensitive thing that we have on this whole list, which permeates future development, future citizens, future leaders, understand me, is what you want to cut, and I will not go along with it.
That's the reason we're going to call a vote here in just a moment. All right, do you understand the amendment that's proposed? Is there a second to Mr. Sneed's amendment? Is there a second? Fails for lack of a second. We're back.
Mr. Mayor, what was the vote last month? I wasn't present. Did you folks vote on anything there, or?
No, not on
Nothing,
these,
okay.
not on these. We took care of the other things up here, but we didn't do that. All right, we're back on the main motion now. That's to approve these things with the understanding that the Bransford Community Center has to be taken out because it is not eligible.
And the sewers.
And Paul, let's clear this up on the Highway 41. Should we approve it to be put up in this other bond issue as a separate issue,
It's there. You can have, I guess, two different motions pertaining to projects. What do you think, Jim?
I don't think it matters. Either way.
All right, well, let's just to clarify, let's say this. I think that is very confusing, the way that's listed. I think that if we want to go on record as supporting that project, then we approve everything down here under general fund projects other than the Bransford Community Center, okay? Because that's ineligible. You're not saying anything, Paul.
Well, I mean, we just all understood that if you want to do sewer, it's just 1.3 million, and that's all we.
But is it in the wrong place? Should it be back up with this other one?
Well, it's a sewer project. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be one
Okay,
geo bond
I got
issue.
you.
I just broke
It'll
it
be put
down
in
so
its
that
right
you'll
place.
know.
All right, let's just be sure we're clear.
Because general fund, really, when you look at the amount of bonds you're selling, general fund is going to be a real small component. The major component here, Mayor, is going to be water and sewer.
All right, well, let's read these things and so the public knows what we're voting on. These general fund projects that we're talking about here would include a very much needed animal control facility improvement or upgrade into the tune of $400,000, new roof and HVAC units at the center, which has been an ongoing issue there. Either with the HVAC, we've already done some improvements. An elevator that at the center, which is estimated to be $101,000. Some improvements in trails and sidewalks at Travis Price Park to the tune of $142,000, and then a sidewalk, which is a safety issue from the baseball fields to the soccer fields, of $25,000. Citywide sidewalk construction, the specific areas unspecified, $250,000. The Highway 41 South Sewer Extension Phase 2, $1.3 million, which goes under the wastewater projects. Then the Springfield High Athletic Facility is $125,000, which is primarily for baseball and softball.
It can be whatever you want. The suggestion
It's
is
just athletic facilities.
baseball and softball.
And elimination of the Bransford Community Center. All right, that's what's before you. We've discussed it. Is any further questions?
One point.
Yes, sir.
Our general public would look at this as social and safety enhancement on this list.
All right.
And I think they would go for it.
All right. Anything further?
I have one question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
If we see that the heating and air system is going to, and the roof and the HVAC is going to be more, then we can take it out of any of the other categories.
Yeah, because you've got, that's right, such as
and
the
change
sidewalk.
that. We're not locked into this tonight.
No, you're locked into a total.
If our
once you
bids
agree.
come in and the
Correct.
roof's gonna cost more money, okay.
All right. You've heard the question. It's had
Question on-
thorough discussion. Yes, sir.
I have a question on the Phase 2 sewer. Are we having any problems between the, where Section 1 ends and the Greenbrier city limits? Is that a pressing issue of the North commitment to provide sewer there?
I have not had any requests from anybody for the existing sewer ends and city limits for sewer service, no.
No request?
No, sir.
Mr. Nutty.
The only real reason to do this is, I believe, under state law, when you annex something, you have to make all your services available. This property was annexed late 90s, and it wasn't until
90s.
a year or so ago that we did the first phase. And so we haven't really completed the entire project. And it's like, you know, we did that too, Mr. Ed, and most people's septic systems are working, so we haven't pressed the issue.
That was a fall of 90 when we annexed that.
I was here. It was like
it wasn't
97
because I
or
wasn't mayor
98.
when that was annexed, and I was
annexed when Mr. Fisher was
mayor
mayor.
through 93.
Yes, Dave Fisher was mayor,
Yeah.
and I had arrived here
Okay.
afterwards.
Yeah, I
So
know.
it was
Okay.
about 96 or 97.
All right.
The only thing that's changed here is that, you know, we've been committed to $6 million of sewer improvements, repairs by the EPA. And, you know, potentially that 1.3 million project should be delayed. I know we're way over, but, you know, that $6 million's got to be paid for somewhere. And I think we're looking at a hefty sewer rate increase to fund that at some point.
Well,
Sooner than later.
I mean, we've waited this long, you just need to know that there's some exposure there. And then if the septic systems start to fail, then it will obviously have to be addressed for sure at some point.
Okay, we ready to vote? Call the roll, please.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
No.
Ellis.
No.
Mason.
Aye.
Passed 5-2.
Okay, and now we have two taxi franchises to, no, wait a minute, got another one in here. 311, discuss and possibly take action on the rejection of bids for the purchase of retired water meters from the Springfield Water and Wastewater Department.
So moved.
All right, this is to reject that.
Yes,
Okay?
reject.
All right, everybody understand that? Second? Do we get a second on it?
No, we haven't.
Second.
All right, and this, the purpose of this issue tonight is that the seal bids that came in for the purchase of these retired water meters from the Water and Wastewater Department for the, were too low to be in our best interest to accept. And that's why we're voting to reject both of the bids that came in. If you favor the rejection of these bids, you'll vote aye. If you oppose, vote no.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
All right, 312 is to discuss and possibly take action on a taxi cab franchise application submitted by Clay Sneed. Is there a motion that this be approved?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, everything is in order, Mr. City Manager.
I believe so.
All right.
Any comments?
Any comments?
Yes, the fair situation. How do we deal with that? I want that to be how can I put it? I want that to be, do we have, I'm asking city manager, city manager, with the fair, do we have,
Do we set fares?
do we set fares, or do we sort of make sure that they are the same?
Well, I think what we've approved throughout the years, I think this is correct, that they get to set their own rates. I mean, it's a competitive issue. So, you know, sometimes we set a ceiling, sometimes we just approve a rate that they've set forward and allow the market to work it out. So I don't think we've ever gotten in a situation, I can't remember in recent memory, where the fares have been exactly the same. But you do have to approve their rates if they ask for a rate
I guess I'm sort of
increase.
undermining one, taking advantage of the other, stuff like that. Can we kind of monitor?
It's a competitive world. If it just gets to the point where it's, that they're so high that neither service is really serving the public, then that's probably an issue at that point.
All right, you have a motion before you. Is it duly seconded?
Yes.
All right, that Mr. Sneed's application be approved. Any further questions? Please call the roll.
Carneal.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Abstain.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Passed 6-0 and 1 abstain.
All right, next is the application of Mr. Donald Kelly for taxi application, renewal of his license. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Doing a good job.
Please call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Sneed.
Abstain.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Passed 6-0 and 1 abstain.
All right, now we have the consent portion of the agenda. You have two items. Is there a motion that this be considered as a complete docket?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal. Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder. Pass 7-0.
Okay, that concludes the agenda. Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to congratulate the Parks and Recreation Department for another successful Winter Wonderland at Travis Price Park. I'd also like to extend my appreciation to the other city departments, the volunteers, and civic-minded organizations and businesses that contributed towards making this a memorable holiday event for families to enjoy. Also, the TDOT contractor has finally completed the drainage repair work under Highway 431 South. This will allow the city's water transmission main contractor to complete the construction of the last 500 feet of the water line sometime in January and allow the water transmission line and the new elevated water tank to be placed into full service. Also, funds for the general obligation refunding and public improvement bonds, Series 2012, were wired today. The refunding proceeds were placed into escrow, and proceeds for the public improvement funds for stormwater are now available to meet project expenditures. Also, lastly, the Public Works Department's recent work to widen and deepen the detention pond between Queen Anne Court and Bill Jones Industrial Drive proved its worth with a very heavy rainfall that occurred the weekend before last. The water levels were reduced from where they could be expected to be with the amount of heavy rainfall we got in a very few couple of days. So that was good work. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, Ms. Snyder, you said something about, you wanted to speak about the Christmas in the park.
I do.
Winter Wonderland.
We were at the park on Friday night, and I have to tell Tony that the Parks and Recreation did a wonderful job, and I know the other departments helped out. It was outstanding. The live reindeers, I hope you have them lined up for next year. Each year it gets better, and it was fun to walk around and hear the excitement in everyone's voice. So thank you for a great job.
All right, anything further?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
enlightened with the Connecticut incident and the suicide that we had, I just want our citizens to be aware of this mental health stresses that a lot of young people are having, some drug-induced and some just genetically inherited. And we need to be abreast of that. Don't be ashamed if you have those type of issues in your family. Contact someone, because you know it's to lose young lives in such as Connecticut stuff, and also to lose young lives in these young guys who have these problems, you know, with criminality, backed in a corner, using drugs, and then they take this. So we need to step up as a city and make sure we're aware of it. Also, I'd like to say the trip to Boston was very successful. You were well represented. As a Diamond Ambassador, I was honored. This is all of us, okay? And I was also reappointed to the Community Action Economic Development Board. So Springfield was represented. It's not about me, it's about us.
All right, anybody else?
Following up on what Mr. Hand said, I talked to Tony and I talked to Paul. The only comment I've heard about the Christmas in the park was that it probably should be longer.
You're just doing too good of a job, Tony.
Which I know he would like to do. Of course, I'm sure somebody's on overtime. I don't know who or how many, but it's been a very good thing for our city. It was very nice. A lot of people there. I'll bet you there were over 4,000 to 5,000 people there during that time going in through. But it was very nice. So we need to think about that. Tony could volunteer to do that if he wanted to.
Mr. Phelps, did you have anything to add to that?
Official total somewhere between the 5,000 and 6,000.
Give your hand, son.
I'd like to thank all the departments that participated, all the volunteers. Your vision to give me a little bit of money. I'd like to have a little more for next year.
We want you to do more, you're gonna ask for more, is that right? Okay, I kinda expected that.
Can you take part of the fireworks money and spend on it?
I can take it all.
We didn't use it last year, did we? We used a fourth of it, I believe.
Okay, remember that our next meeting is January the 15th. That's the earliest it can be in a month. And unless there's something else, let me wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And Chief Hamill, it's good to have you with us tonight.
Chief Thompson? Yeah. Chief Thompson?